Look, now's not the time for me to care about a sport I really never cared about. The Buccos are in a playoff game. I haven't seen that kind of madness since I was 8. Sure, I've cheered teams to 4 Super Bowl appearances, 2 such wins, 2 Stanley Cup appearances, 1 such win, and we won't get into the train wreck that was the 2005 Fiesta Bowl because that brings back traumatic memories. So when I found myself staring at Super Sidekicks 3, which I thought was going to be some kind of Three Ninjas kickback platformer or something along those lines, I wasn't expecting much. Especially considering that the average length of an arcade game is around 3 minutes, and the average length of a soccer game is measured in half-lives of Carbon-14. Something's got to give. What I actually found after playing, though, was something a lot more entertaining than I was expecting. It is true to the form, an arcadey, action-packed soccer sim more closely packed than a regulation pitch should be, and, well, just a few minutes in length. Instead of playing 12 8-year halves, or so it seems in the real world, you're in the action just long enough to get a good couple scoring chances in, and that's about it. After that pie chart in the top center fills, the game's over. If it's a 0-0 tie, reach for your quarters, because your lack of skill and ability to put the ball in the bleeding net means you've got to shell out another credit just for the honor of going to penalty kicks. Yeah, that feels like a kick in the left toe, which requires diving like Brian Phelps. Speaking of trying absolutely anything to draw penalties, sufficient tackling in Super Sidekicks 3 can result in the yellow cards coming out, and a psych-up bonus to the infringed upon player, that is, unless they're simply rendered unconscious by the attack itself. That's what I call acting, folks. In all, 64 teams are represented in 8 pods of 8 nations each. These sides square off in one of 6 different tournaments, which is quite a lot of content for an arcade game that tries to push you through the experience as quickly as possible. But for all that, it succeeds in being a good-looking, fairly intense soccer experience, which can even support my deranged self playing every game like it's still a Nintendo World Cup. Kunio-kun shouldn't be anyone's introduction to a sport, especially since apparently winning by KOing every member of your opponent's side except the goalie is frowned upon. That said, these goalies take some serious damage themselves, enough to make punching the ball back in a trivial matter. If your teammates had non-stupid AI and you had any idea where you ended up after the jarring camera movement. Still, could be worse, they could be lying face down in a pool of their own blood. But all in all, I quite enjoyed Super Sidekicks 3, even though I feel it brought me no closer to its sport as a whole. It's a spiffy little arcade game about running around and kicking balls and, time for the Pirates pre-game, post-weigh-in direct dugout report. Priorities, folks.